Have you ever tried growing fruit trees in containers but failed and didn't know why? Well, today we're going to take a look at how to have success growing fruit trees in containers. Hello everybody, Joe here with Garden of Luma, and as you can see I am indoors today. And the reason for that is it's chilly outside. We've been really cold the last few nights, unusually cold here for Phoenix, Arizona in the desert. It's been down to about the low mid-20s. And so as you can see, I have some of my friends inside with me today. Brought some of my container fruit trees indoors to keep them warmer and to protect them from those cold frosts. So that's one of the big pluses for growing fruit trees in containers, is that you can kind of move them around and shelter them when you need to. So let's talk about why we fail with growing fruit trees in containers. So one thing, as you can see here, down at the bottom here, my container is wrapped in a white. This is a kitchen liner that I use on some of my black pots. So here in a hot, dry climate, if you leave this tree in a black pot out in full sun all day long, it is going to fry those roots. So in a hot, dry climate like the desert that I'm in, you want to really make sure that you're doing something to shade the base of the tree during the hottest parts of the day. That's going to help your tree to stay a little bit cooler during those really hot times of the year. Watering is another major thing with containers. In the ground, water isn't going to evaporate as quickly as a container. Container is above ground, so it's going to be a little bit warmer temperatures than those roots that are down in the ground. So you want to make sure you're keeping those container plants consistently moist and giving them adequate water. When you water your container fruit trees, you're going to notice if you have good draining soil, the water is going to drain out fairly quickly. So a good rule of thumb when watering your container fruit trees is if you have your fruit tree in a 25-gallon container or a 15-gallon container, use about that much water to water the tree. Afterwards, dip your finger in and feel if the soil is moist or not. Sometimes that water will run through quickly and it won't soak the soil as needed. So do a check afterwards just to make sure it's getting thoroughly watered. Another thing to make sure to do is check your drainage holes periodically, usually at the beginning of the growing season or midway through, to make sure they're not getting plugged. The last thing you want is for your soil to just hold a bunch of water and have no drainage. Then you're going to cause problems with root rot and things. So make sure your drainage holes are clear and able to drain consistently. Plant with good soil. I do not use native soil or potting soil. I make sure I have a good draining soil for my fruit trees and containers. So typically I use a cactus mix or something that has like lava sand or things like that to promote good drainage. Feeding consistently is critical for container plants. They aren't able to access that food that's in the soil by spreading out and things, whereas in a container you need to be really consistent with feeding, like on a monthly regimented schedule, or else they're going to suffer without getting those proper nutrients that they need. So you have to really be dialed in to feed your trees. Pruning your trees is a big thing in containers as well, to keep them smaller and manageable for the pots. You don't want a 20-foot tree in a little 7-gallon container. Container sizes appropriate for the size of the tree is also a big deal. I think a lot of times we want to put a small tree right away in a huge pot, and that can be detrimental to the tree. That little root ball isn't going to get the water it needs because the water will spread out throughout the pot and won't touch the roots, or that excess soil on the bottom and sides of the pot will hold too much moisture because the plant roots aren't taking it up into the tree, causing root rot or cold wet feet in the cooler months. So you want to plant in a pot that's appropriate for the size of the tree and then gradually up it to a bigger pot. So those are some of the major keys to having success growing your fruit trees in containers. Check me out at gardenofluma.com for more tips on growing specifically for hot, dry climates. If you like these videos, hit subscribe, like, and click on that bell. Thank you.